Because that's what happened. That's how I have that button set up on the Stream Deck, is that it
Oh,
starts streaming, starts recording, sends a tweet.
nice.
I wish I could set it up so that it would send a Facebook post, but it doesn't have that capability.
Yeah, not that way yet. But yeah, I have feelings.
No sound.
No
York is saying no
sound.
sound. I don't understand. It's registering that there's sound.
I do a quick. Is it Twitch that's saying that there's no sound?
Is your Twitch muted?
No.
No. No. Yeah. Yeah, he had
Ah.
Twitch muted.
Well,
I was like,
silly.
hello, Mr. York.
Hey, Ash. Look at, I got the best shirt ever. I've got the best shirt ever.
Not even Twitch, just that specific tab.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yep. Yeah. Uh. Yeah, I need to go and make a clip of last Dark Matter episode because I need the clip of when my hearing stopped.
Oh.
Like
I mean, anybody can make clips, so yeah, just go back in there.
yeah, I
And
just do it.
I mean, I'll get into this in this week in 8-bit adventures, but just some information on sort of stream archives and that whole process.
Yeah.
So, but we should just get started.
Yeah, I definitely yes. Let's get
So,
started.
here we go. Show starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming up on episode 171, Byleth for Smash, Visions of Nazoth, Oz Wonderland crossover, and much, much more on the 8-Bit Adventures podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the 8-Bit Adventures podcast, bringing you the latest and greatest geeky news of the week. I am your host, Sean Hayes, and with me is my wonderful co-host, as always, Courtney Bolin.
Hey everybody.
We are back again this week. We are. So it turns out completely wrong on all levels for the Smash Brothers announcement.
Although at the same time, like now I kind of see it. Like I don't see why I didn't see it.
Oh no, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
It's just not what I was expecting.
Nope.
I'm a little sad that it was Byleth and not one of the other characters.
Yes.
Right. I think they could have gone full meme and put Hilda in as the Smash character, Hilda for Smash. But Hilda's too strong for Smash, and so she's relegated to the sidelines.
She OP.
They could have done Big Daddy Seth. if only to get more voice work in, which would have been great. So yeah, Smash Direct last Thursday we theorized that maybe it would have been Dante from Devil May Cry, or I don't think you had a prediction, Courtney.
No, I did. I can't remember who it was though. It's been a whirlwind.
Yeah. But
I
I
did
remember you
have a
basically
prediction though.
you led with I don't know.
No, I think it was
Oh, you
I
were
said
thinking
Witcher.
Crash.
I originally think I said Witcher though, because that was coming, and
Okay.
then we got on about like Crash or somebody like that would have been great.
I would have
But
thought that
yeah,
I think you had said Crash, and then we had kind of talked about like Dante, and then like, oh, if it was Geralt, would have been
yeah, no, I
interesting.
was originally thinking Geralt, and then yeah,
Okay.
because
Uh,
I know that Witcher's coming to Switch
so
or is
we
already
got
there.
neither.
Yeah.
Instead we get Byleth, the main character of Fire Emblem Three Houses. Uh,
Mhm.
so you know, I don't mind that it's another Fire Emblem character. And I think I think Sakurai definitely wanted to make sure that this character was different in the feel and play style, to not just make another blue-haired swordsman. But also Sakurai poking fun at the fact that it's another Fire Emblem swordsman character throughout the
Yeah.
entire announcement video, which they did a basically full animated Fire Emblem trailer for it,
Wow.
where um, so it's gonna be spoilers for people that haven't played Three Houses yet or have gotten far enough into the storyline. But basically, there is an enemy that tries to seal Byleth and Sothis in some kind of void dimension, right? And
How
so you're
rude.
stuck in this void dimension, and Sothis says like the only way to get out of here is to join Smash, and like throws an envelope at Byleth. So you get like weird, awesome moments like that when you bust out. They tweak the line from the actual game. That it now says like, so joining Smash is apparently enough to even defeat the darkness itself. um,
Oh
it was good. It was
wow.
really, really tongue in cheek, very, very great.
Yeah.
And then like when they cut back from the trailer, they show like Sakurai's like frantically putting up Byleth posters in his office. uh, but they also have things like male Byleth goes out, gets his butt handed to him by all the other swordsmen in Smash. The plethora of swordsmen in Smash. And then Sothis is like, oh, what? So just another swordsman isn't enough? What? How do you propose to it was like, how do you propose to overcome this situation then? And like when they cut back, it's male Byleth has become female Byleth. and,
Yeah.
and Sothis just like, not what I had in mind, but very clever, so I'll reward you for that. And then bestows upon Byleth the other 3 artifacts of the house leaders.
Nice.
Dimitri's spear, Edelgard's axe, and Claude's bow.
Nice.
So the way Byleth fights is more like Link than like any of the other, than like Marth, Roy, Ike, Robin,
I like that.
Corrin.
So you'll be able to play as male or female Byleth.
Yes. So the way it works, like some of the
I
other
like that.
gender swappable Fire Emblem characters are, they're just alternate costumes.
Yep.
But wait, Courtney, there's more. Some of the
No,
other
tell me
alternate
about
costumes. Some of the other alternate costumes are basically Dimitri, Claude, and Edelgard. So,
I'm sorry,
Dimitri.
I'm just thinking of no, this is my best thing. So I'm thinking of male Byleth in Edelgard's
No,
outfit.
so Edelgard is a female Byleth, alternate color,
Okay.
whereas
Darn
Dimitri and
it, I
Claude
wanted to
are.
see male Byleth in a skirt. That would have been awesome. I would have chosen that every time.
And I don't think they do the skirt. I think they do it. It's still like the same model.
Yeah.
It's just the outfit is
Colored differently.
basically like an Edelgard colored outfit.
Oh
Yeah.
man. They
Um,
just missed something great there.
So the way this works is both the standard and special attacks in a certain direction use a different weapon. So all of the up-based attacks for Byleth are using the Sword of the Creator. So a lot of like whip sword, chain sword based attacks. The side attacks and side specials are using Dimitri's lance. So the idea with that is you have a lot of range.
Yep.
And then the down attacks and down specials are using Edelgard's axe. So heavily emphasizing big, powerful, really slow but powerful swings. I think the down special is like you take the axe out and like you can charge it up and then go. You have what is known as super armor while that's happening. So you can't be knocked around. Like enemies can hit you and they'll deal damage, but you won't get thrown about. So like it can't be countered. Or it can't be interrupted rather. It can be countered. So that's why.
Second. It can't be countered?
It can be countered, it just can't be interrupted. Unless there's something that specifically breaks super armor. Yeah, which brings an interesting dynamic to it because the spear attacks, right, have bigger range than sword users. And so you're able to punish sword users from trying to get too close. Whereas the axe, since it's super slow, like it can't be interrupted, but it's easily countered by sword users.
Yeah.
And I think that basically works into the weapon triangle, I think, for Fire Emblem. Because I think sword beats axe, spear beats sword, and axe beats lance, I think is how that works.
Okay. Cool.
So yeah. So it's nice how they have that little interaction in there. And then neutral is the bow.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Final smash is you summon Sothis and you use basically Ruptured Heaven, which is the special attack in Three Houses with the sword.
Nice.
Very nice. I mean, it's one of the cinematic ones, so it's just you summon Sothis and like you just do a big chain sword effect and yeah.
Oh, that'll be really cool.
Yeah. It comes with Garrick Mach as being added as a stage. It's interesting in that it has 4 parts. So sort of like the other Fire Emblem stage where vertically you descend into like 4 different stages. This one is you basically start in the courtyard of Garrick Mach and you go up through that main corridor. So it goes like courtyard, where you get the blue lions.
Yep.
And our best boy gatekeeper in the back, who still has nothing to report. Then you go into the sort of main hall.
Yep.
And you get the Black Eagles there.
Yep.
And Josh will appreciate they have so in addition to Edelgard, it's the Black Eagle ladies. With Dorothy and Petra. Sadly, Bernadette is not there because she's in her room.
Bernie's in her room.
Bernie's in her room. Then from there you go to the bridge, and the bridge is where you have the Golden Deer.
Okay.
So you get sadly, I think the Golden Deer has the worst representation because you get Claude and Hilda, which makes sense. But then you get Lawrence. And I'm like, out of all the people in Golden Deer that you could have picked, like Raphael would have been great.
Raphael would have been amazing.
You could have done Ignatz. You could have done Leone. Marianne. Yeah, well, I mean, Marianne would make sense for not picking her. Lysithea. But, whatever.
Yeah.
So, instead we get a universally hated character in Fire Emblem. And then from there, you go to the cathedral, and that's where the stage ends. And in the cathedral, you get Rhea, Sedith, and Flame.
Okay.
As just characters in the background who are just watching and like cheering on people and stuff. Yeah. So
That's super cool.
yeah,
And
and
what's this about some other Mii Fighter costumes?
yeah. So with all of the DLC fighter packs that they've done, they've also released Mii Fighter costumes. So like the last one that we got with Banjo Kazooie, they also had Sans as a fighter
Mm-hmm.
costume, and everybody lost their mind. With this one, we are so we're getting a bunch of Mega Man stuff. So quite a few. We're getting Mega Man .exe from Mega Man Battle Network.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's I want to say the Mega Man costume from Mega Man X. And oh geez. But the big one was Cuphead. So
Yeah.
you'll be able to I think it's a Mii Gunner outfit, which makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But and it's much more fleshed out than a lot of the other sort of Mii Fighter costumes.
Ooh, nice.
So let's see. Mii Fighter costumes Byleth patch.
How do we? I think that's really cool. So, are these things coming extra or within the season pass?
Oh,
Do you know what I mean?
these are included in the season. So if you bought the season pass, these are all included in that. You can also
Okay.
purchase them separately.
Okay.
I'm sorry. So the Mii Fighter costumes are purchased separately, but Byleth is included in the Fighter Pass, as well as the stage, and there's 11 tracks from Fire Emblem.
Musical tracks.
Music tracks, yeah.
Nice.
However, the Mii Fighter costumes are 75 cents each. So you can get the 5 of them for, let's see, that's $1.50. That's $1.50, so $3, $3.75.
That's not bad. Less than
so,
$5.
So we get Mega Man.exe, Mega Man X, Rabbids, and Altair from Assassin's Creed, as well as Cuphead.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah, Mega Man.exe, and Cuphead are gunners. Rabbids is a brawler, and Assassin's Creed is a sword fighter.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's
Sounds
where
fun.
if
so
they're
that
not going
launches
to
in March,
no.
or these
No, I think it's the end of the month.
Oh, I knew that they were coming like really soon, but
the 28th, I believe, next week. That
Oh,
was the other
wow.
thing that we were totally wrong about, was that we thought it would have been March, and no,
Yeah.
it's in like 2 weeks.
Oh wow, that's a quick. Okay.
I
All
think
right.
so. Let me smash Byleth.
Yeah, I'm like, cause I remember
Yep.
them.
Yeah, January 28th.
It just feels like they've had such longer times between announcing and releasing.
I mean, it depends.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you really think about it, Terry came out in November, so it's been like almost 3 months.
Yeah. Yeah, by the end of
So,
Yeah. Okay.
Also announced, they are working on 6 more fighters.
Oh wow. To be included in this same
No,
season pass?
it will be in a Fighter Pass 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
Okay. That
but
works.
no indication as to what those 6 fighters could be. But yeah, the at this point the sky's the limit.
Yeah. They have so many. I still say we're gonna get a Geralt eventually.
I don't know. Geralt would be could but I wonder.
Or a Witcher character in general. Let's get Dandelion in.
I just that would just be odd. I don't
No,
see
like in the
Dandelion.
background of something. Like
I mean, here's the thing. So if they, let's whole no limits here. If they did
Yeah.
Geralt, and they did a Witcher stage,
Mm-hmm.
I mean that would be an interesting one to have those characters in the background.
No, I don't mean Dandelion as a fighter. I mean having him
Yeah.
as yeah.
Because, I mean, I just did a bunch of quests with Dandelion in
In
Witcher
Witcher.
3.
Yep.
And, yeah, no, he's not a fighter. Not at all.
No. Hard.
And he's also a bad thief.
Very bad.
As in he's not great at it. So, yeah, but I mean, you know, like Capcom's done a crossover with Monster Hunter as well as Square.
Yeah.
Or sorry, Capcom has done a crossover with Witcher.
Oh, okay.
For Monster Hunter.
Okay.
Yeah. And sorry, I was getting it mixed up with Monster Hunter. Square has not done a Witcher crossover, to my knowledge.
Okay.
I was thinking Monster Hunter did a Witcher crossover.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so I mean, Geralt would be cool. Dante would be cool. I could see Travis Touchdown from No More Heroes because that's a Nintendo property.
Yep.
I'm trying to think what else. I mean, if you know, Rare's on the table, I could see, you know, if they go back to another partnership with Microsoft, Battletoads. But yeah, I mean, who knows?
It's pretty much open season.
Yeah.
For what there could be. So
I still say no Waluigi. I think that bridge was burned.
Fair.
Yeah.
All right. So that'll be a fun upcoming patches in the future. So they're already planning.
Tuesday.
So yeah.
Oh, are you talking about Season Pack 2?
Season Pass 2.
Okay.
The Fighter Pass 2. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah. But yeah, so what is so you said earlier in the pre-show that you were going to send me some pictures when we talked about WoW.
Okay. All right. So, patch 8.3 dropped, Visions of N'Zoth, and with it, we got the latest sort of updated model for a World of Warcraft NPC character. And it's kind of setting the world on memes galore. Memes galore indeed.
Oh.
So Rathian is back.
Okay.
And I mean, it's technically, like, you could say it's a spoiler, but like it literally happens right at the beginning of the quest line. So, yeah, Rathian's finally back. They finally decided to do something with him, and boy, did they update his model.
So I take it that's the guy with the red eyes.
Yes. So he's a black dragon.
Okay.
He is sort of the last remaining uncorrupted black dragon. All the other ones fell to N'Zoth's corruption.
Okay. So he's not evil? Is that what I'm hearing?
He is not evil.
Okay.
He's kind of manipulative. He kind of manipulated the Horde and the Alliance into war again to try and basically
but manipulative does not equal evil.
Well, he was doing it to push one faction to become the strongest faction in an effort to get them to win the war and then be able to defend Azeroth from the Burning Legion and other stuff. Kind of a thing. So
he had good intentions.
Sort of. Still didn't do it in the greatest of ways.
I'm not saying it happened in the best way. I'm saying it wasn't evil intentions. It was yeah.
And for the Alliance players is you kind of get the impression of that when he walks in and goes like, Anduin, my old friend, and Anduin slugs him in the face, like basically sucker punches him. And hard enough that it like causes scales to burn through like his polymorph form and fly off.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Whoa.
So,
you done messed up when you're able to do that.
What happens is he shows up as an advisor, along with Magni, who is the Speaker of Azeroth, former Lord of the Dwarves. and they take you to the heart of Azeroth, where we've been. Basically, that's been the hub for all of the sort of overarching storylines in the campaign, in this expansion thus far.
Yep.
And the goal is to take the fight to N'Zoth, who's one of the old gods, and is basically kind of like the big bad of this expansion. And in order to do so, all of these like new, basically they're almost like tears in reality, where it's so a little bit of backstory.
Yes.
So
I always appreciate our backstory.
Light and void are opposites, right? As sources of power in World of Warcraft, and the light is traditionally viewed as like holy and orderly and stuff, whereas shadow is like kind of the domain of maniacs and madmen, because it deals with the old gods, and the void, and shadow beings and stuff. We learned in Legion, with a little bit of backstory from Tyrellian and Illyria, that basically the difference is like there's almost like a dichotomy where the light holds that the reality that we're currently in is the truth and the one true reality, whereas the idea of the void is that there are infinite realities, they are all true. And so
I kind of go void on that one.
Well, the reason why people are driven mad is because they see all of the realities when they open their mind to the void, and they're all true, and they're all speaking to them. Thus, mortal minds can't comprehend that, and it breaks them. So that's why the light is, and the idea is that the more you let the void creep in, the more this one reality suffers. Because it gets shattered into every reality, kind of a thing. And so that's basically what N'Zoth is tapping into to make his visions of what could become. And so you go into like these corrupted areas where they're not actually corrupted. What you're seeing is a vision of N'Zoth, who is a giant old god of like multiple eyes and tentacles and all sorts of gross stuff. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of squid beings in this expansion, or in this patch rather, in the expansion. So we go to Uldum, which is kind of a desert, lots of pyramids, Egyptian type stuff, is being overrun with Silithids, basically, which are giant insectoid creatures that serve the old gods. And then we also go to the Vale of Eternal Blossoms, which is in Pandaria. It's become corrupted again with old god stuff. And that one
sounds so sad, because I just imagine like Pandarians like just frolicking in a beautiful meadow of flowers, and then everything just like crumbles to ash and dies, and that makes me really sad.
It's more like everything turns purple and grows tentacles. Yeah.
No.
There are statues.
It's not that type of game.
There are statues of basically these old statues of Mogu that are giant sculptures and monuments in the center, and they basically like sprout eyeballs like all over the body, and like these giant 100-foot long tentacles that are they're all cosmetic effects, but Blizzard did a much better job with reinforcing the aesthetics with the Vale than they did with there's just bugs everywhere with Uldum. So anyway, so you go through, you see these places, and then you come up with a plan. And the plan is you got to venture into these visions to try and learn more about N'Zoth and to use his power against him. And in doing so, Rathian gives you a cloak that protects you against corruption. So sanity mechanics are a big thing in this patch. And so basically anytime you go into one of these corrupted areas, you have like a sanity meter that gradually depletes. There is also corrupted gear. So corrupted gear basically
Okay, see, now
gets
I'm imagining like swords with tentacles coming out of them. Please tell me I'm
not
wrong.
quite. So it's more that you just like get a purple cloud around you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can deal with a purple cloud. I could not deal with swords not having extra tentacle. No.
There's a staff from like Burning Crusade that is basically a long pole, and it's got like 3 little tentacles on the end of it that are just like meow.
Okay, but are they cute little tentacles or are they like creepy, slimy, icky?
I mean, they're about this long and they're green.
Okay, no, they're wrong. Nope.
But that's in
Anything
relation to your
longer than, like-
character.
Mhm.
So if your character's like this big on screen, they're like this big.
Yeah, but in relation, in relativity, that it's just no.
I think it's meant to be like a grappling staff or something. So like the tentacles are supposed to grab onto something. I think it's also an item in D&D too.
It's just wrong. It's just
But
wrong.
anyway, so corrupted items. These items, they get bonus stats and bonus abilities, but they also have a corruption score. If your corruption score gets up to certain points, you're also cursed with like debuffs that happen, and the higher your corruption score, the worse it is. So the idea is you get these new abilities that like increase your corruption resistance. So if your corruption level goes, or if your overall corruption level goes to 0, you can use these items without any drawbacks.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, and there is a way to purify items if you don't want to deal with that hassle. So, because right now it's your cloak provides you with some corruption resistance, and then there are certain essences which are basically things that you socket into your necklace that can also give you corruption resistance.
Yourself in essential oils?
No. Like one of them's like basically dragon breath that's been imbued by the 5 different flights of dragons. One's like one is just you buy as a reward from a faction, stuff like that.
Okay.
But yeah, all in all, it gives an interesting grind of like you run these visions. You get a bunch of like currency basically from running those visions. You go spend that currency for talents that basically affect how well you run visions. You also get like special items that you turn into Rathian, who gives you stuff to improve your cloak, which then it's kind of like a Diablo style thing of like you're running these dungeons, you're getting loot or currency to buy loot. You then take it to the guy, you get better loot, you go back in order to run the dungeon again and do it like faster. Because in these dungeons, again, your sanity's slowly dropping, and your goal is to try and do as much stuff and then kill the boss before your sanity meter runs out. And some of the talents are like ways to, regain sanity or damage resistance, or there's one where like if you die or if your sanity reaches 0, you like you resurrect with full health and full sanity. That kind of stuff. The twist is that same currency used to buy talents can also buy you things like a mount, gem sockets for your gear, which that's a big one.
That's so that you can put other things in your gear and not get
So jewel crafting is a profession where you can cut gems, and gems are used to enhance gear with like bonus stats and stuff. That gear has to have a socket to put that gem into. Gear typically does not come with gem sockets, and there is, outside of that, no way to add gem sockets to an item.
What do you mean? My hat doesn't give me a perfectly laid thing where I can put in a diamond in it?
No, it doesn't.
You mean I have to make that hole myself
Yes.
the right way
Yep.
and not mess up the hole or my hat?
Yeah.
Man.
Now, it used to be that items would come with a lot more gem sockets, particularly in Burning
Yeah.
Crusade when they introduced jewel crafting.
Yeah.
But these days, like, it's great. So that'll be a very desirable item. But for those of us that are into transmog, the sort of lowest tier of these items available, these extra items available for that currency, is a backpack. Now, you might think,
Backpack.
Sean, is it a bag that you put stuff in? No. It is a cosmetic backpack, so that instead of wearing a cloak, your character has a backpack.
I'm sorry. I am a woman, and I am going to be saying this. Fashion over function? Are you kidding me?
That is the entire point of transmog, Courtney.
But no, not for a backpack. No.
Well, no,
Oy.
Courtney, the way transmog works is once you collect an appearance, you can change the look of your gear to match the appearance of anything that you've collected. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why my hunter, the cosmetic effect on the bow that I have is from a bow that, is from vanilla. Because you can't get it in the game anymore, and it was like it was the top hunter bow. And it was a unique skin. Sadly, it looks like garbage these days because
Aww.
the model's from vanilla.
Yeah.
But it's a cool animated effect where like flowers sprout and mushrooms, bloom and stuff like that on the bow
pretty.
itself. Yeah.
Wait, so it's a caduceus bow?
It's a caduceus bow. But this means that every bow that I have gets to be a caduceus bow.
Aww.
So, yeah, entirely cosmetic. This is something that I'm very interested in. It would be neat as a hunter to have a backpack instead of a cloak, or a cape, rather, because they don't have hoods.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
But, yeah, I mean, I like the fact... So, the intro quest is very long. Like, it takes a while to get into sort of the looping content. But once you get to the looping part, I like that it kind of truncates the whole daily quest grind. And it makes it like a lot more manageable, and it feels like you can get it done very quickly and then like move on to anything else or whatever. Or for me, provides kind of a bite-sized experience where I can be like, yeah, I could play for a short period of time, get that stuff done, and then be like, okay, I'm done with Warcraft for the day.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
there you go.
Yeah. So, all in all, I mean, the raids should certainly be interesting. The raid comes out on Tuesday. So, yeah. And then,
very fun.
They have said this will be the last patch before Shadowlands, so there will be no further content until Shadowlands comes out.
So that's the next expansion?
That is the next expansion. Yes, okay. Shadowlands.
Okay. Cool. Do they know, have they said when Shadowlands is coming?
I think it's coming in the fall.
Okay, so you've got,
maybe
majority of the year for the rest of this patch.
You can pre-order right now, so...
Yeah.
So I'd imagine it's coming in the fall.
Cool.
Yeah. Cool. So, but yeah, Rathian. He's
He looks sassy.
There's not really, actually. Not really.
No, not really?
Nah, he's very much like serious business. I mean, he's cocky and kind of arrogant, but like serious
cocky
business.
Is different from sassy. I like sassy.
Yeah, he's not he's not really sassy anymore. But definitely smoldering.
I'm sorry. Smoldering doesn't, whatever. Unless you're actually on fire. Physically on fire.
So fire is the associated element for black dragons in World of Warcraft.
Yes.
It's somewhat of a pun.
Yes. Unless he actually has fire coming off of his polymorph form. Don't care.
I mean, he could.
He could absolutely,
So,
but
but
yeah,
yeah, that's out now. So,
sweet, sweet.
um, so Courtney,
No,
I
no,
saw this. This is
we're not gonna do the feelings yet. We're gonna talk about Temtem.
no
Yes,
fine.
we're
Okay,
gonna get all the games and then my feelings.
okay. So we talked about it last week during Questlog, but Temtem is out, open alpha, released on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
This is basically a monster battling RPG, done in the style of sort of older Pokemon games. And I say that like visually. So it's got a top-down style. But as far as the art style goes, it's like cell shaded in the style like Wind Waker or Breath of the Wild.
Mm-hmm.
Very island aesthetic. Um,
Ooh.
and yeah, just a lot of it gives you a lot of information up front, unlike Pokemon, where Pokemon like
Yeah.
kind of hides a lot of the information.
Oh goodness, yes.
Yeah, and yeah, so far I'm really enjoying it. It does some interesting aspects of it are to just dive into some of the differences.
Yeah.
So one of the things is it tells you what the priority level of all moves are. So basically there are 4 levels of priority in the game right now.
Mm-hmm.
And what it does is it just augments your speed. Where normal priority is level 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for Pokemon, it would be all normal priority stuff.
Yeah.
There is high priority, which for Pokemon would be things like Quick Attack, Aqua Jet, stuff like that. That
Yep.
In the move like Pokedex or whatever, it says like this move goes first, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But of course, there are things that can go even before that. And then there's very high, which is level 4, and that would be for things like Protect or Detect in Pokemon. That like happen at basically before anything else does.
Okay.
There's also
Oh, so
low
those things that
priority.
happen like so wait, those things that happen like as soon as your Pokemon comes out, like those types of effect things? Or are these like moves and actions that you have to choose?
These are moves and actions that you have to choose.
Okay, just making sure I'm following this right.
So, like
Okay.
for example, when you use Protect in Pokemon, um, the idea is that it blocks almost all attacks. So
Yep.
it happens. Um, basically, it has a high priority to ensure that it ends up being like first in the turn order, kind of a
Yep.
thing. The way the turns works the same as Pokemon. It's you choose your stuff, and then the game does calculations to determine turn order after all actions are selected. So then, like you can kind of guess based on speed and stuff like that, speed and priority to figure out where you're gonna happen in the turn order. But for the
Mm-hmm.
most part, you don't quite know. Um, all of the battles are double battles,
I
so
do like that.
you always get 2 Temtem. This also means because it is technically an MMO, you can pair up with somebody and you battle together, each with 1 Temtem.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
I like the sound of.
So they also consolidate a bunch of the types and introduce some new ones. So like there's
So yeah,
Earth
you're
instead
saying
of Rock and Ground.
yep.
Um, there's Crystal, which is a type that's not in Pokemon. Crystal
Yeah.
is resistant to uh, mental and electricity,
Okay.
but it is weak to fire and melee, which is like fighting.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
So kind of like Steel type a little bit.
Yep.
Except it's resistant to electricity instead of neutral to it.
Yeah.
And the idea is you get your choice of 3 starters. The 3 starters are basically Crystal, Fighting, and Psychic. So it still keeps the triangle, but instead of being
Mm-hmm.
like, water, fire, and grass, it
Fire all
changes
the
it
way.
up. So yeah. And then you have a rival You meet your rival. Your rival has basically a Temtem that is like the rarest type, digital. That I don't know if you can even get it like through catching stuff in game or whatever. And basically in your first match, like just absolutely obliterates you. And then
Of
like rubs
course.
it in your
Yeah.
face kind of a thing. So very much playing on like the Gary Oak
Yeah.
kind of attitude. And the professor's just like, yeah, just go off. And so, but he gives you a second Temtem right off the bat.
Okay.
That
Alright.
one is consistent for everybody. It's like a toucan kind of a thing.
Okay.
So everybody gets the same
Okay.
second Temtem.
That's okay. I'm okay with that actually.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Some other things include you so instead of like learning and forgetting skills and having 4 slots.
Oh yeah, you were saying how
you never forget skills. It's
Yeah.
just you have 4 equipable slots and you can equip them anytime you're outside of battle. You don't have to like go to a Pokemon Center and go to the move relearner or anything like that. It's just
or find the move relearner in
well,
in
thankfully,
previous
yeah, in previous games, yeah.
Thankfully now things are so much easier. But
But imagine how even easier it could be, Courtney, is
I
if your Pokemon
know.
never forgot any skills and
I
you were able to just equip
know.
them on the fly.
I know I wouldn't have to say, "Oh, which one's better? Oh, should I get this? Oh, but it could be really useful.
Yeah,
But
you
this
can
one I
try it
use
out.
more."
You can
Yeah,
try it out and then decide
swap it
whether or
back
not to
out.
and then swap it back out. Yeah.
Mhm.
Also, all Temtem have, in addition to HP, have stamina. So stamina basically functions like magic, like MP or skill points or whatever in other RPGs.
Mhm.
So this is an interesting twist from Pokemon in that with the PowerPoint system for Pokemon,
Yeah.
you're not really incentivized to keep old skills, right?
Nope.
Whereas in this game, because all of your skills pull from the same meter,
Yep.
you can't just spam, your most powerful skill all the time.
Well, and then also I know in Pokemon if you are in a battle and you have not, say you have 4 super strong things, like super strong moves, but you only have like 5 uses of each of them, and then you're just thrashing for the rest if
Yeah.
you haven't like gone down yet and haven't beaten them yet. Like I like this idea of stamina because again, because you get to choose some of those lower things that take less stamina.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, it incentivizes you to keep
it
cheaper, like low-powered skills because they cost less. You do
yes,
regain stamina every turn, and then you can also wait to regain more stamina.
yep,
However, the other thing is, I mean, with Pokemon, is chances are if you have a whole bunch of those skills that are just 5 PowerPoint, you just need to use one, and you've basically like
yeah,
defeated your opponent, kind of a thing.
yeah. Maybe
Um,
2 if it's like a gym battle.
yeah, I mean, the
But
idea with Pokemon is that you're trying to figure out a way to just one-shot your opponent every single time, and that's true of like competitive or whatever.
and I'm really good at that.
Your goal is to try and figure out how to one-hit KO your opponent. Um,
Yeah.
but with this, it's a little more tactical in your decision
It's a little
making
more
of like,
nuanced, and I like
yeah,
that. I
yeah.
really do.
I've also
So,
noticed there doesn't seem to be accuracy checks, or if there are, it's not really a thing they focus on. And then for things that like buff or debuff, they don't seem to do it via percentage like Pokemon does, where like
mhm.
you might have Metal Claw, which has a 10% chance to increase your attack stat or whatever. In
Yeah.
Temtem, it would just be it always increases your attack stat.
Oh, okay.
Or like you might have a skill that puts a Temtem to sleep, and like unless so like with Pokemon,
So it always
that
puts it
skill
to
would
sleep
have a
as
would have a
opposed to
55 to 60% chance of succeeding. With
yeah.
Temtem, it just puts it to sleep.
Okay. I kind of like that. I
Yeah,
kind of like that because that's
yeah,
one of
it
the
reduces
main
RNG out of the game.
that's one of the main reasons why I don't usually like moves that do that, because there is that opportunity for something to not work, and I don't like that in Pokemon. So I don't usually go towards uh, having my Pokemon learn moves that have a percentage of happening. Um, I like it where it does it, it poisons them, or it puts them to sleep, or it confuses them, or whatever it may be. I really like hearing that that is, if it says it does this ability, it just does it. So
Yeah.
I like that. I like
Um, Here's another thing that's interesting that Temtem does.
that. Ooh.
There are synergies on some skills. So synergies work where, and other RPGs have done this, but other JRPGs have done this before, where if certain conditions are met, the
Mm-hmm.
skill gets like enhanced. And it's
Well,
usually if you have a Temtem of a particular type as your partner.
I mean,
So for
Pokemon is
example,
kind
like,
of doing that with the terrain. So like if it's electric, like if there's an electric storm outside, like electric type Pokemon's electric type moves.
I mean, you could argue like with the weather and stuff. Yeah. This is
That's
more
a little bit,
so
not like,
so
you know.
Temtem doesn't have terrain and weather effects.
Okay,
Um, so
good.
what
No
it does,
being
like this,
buffeted by
this is
hail.
more. I mean, this is more like Grass Pledge and Fire Pledge and stuff. Um, but it's more like so there might be I think there's a Crystal type move where if your partner is a Wind type Temtem, it gains increased priority and does more damage.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I like that. I
Um,
like that.
Whereas like there's a Water type move where uh, I think at its base, it like reduces the speed of all opposing Temtem by 1 stage. But
Mm-hmm.
if it's combined with an Earth type Temtem as your partner, it decreases it by an additional stage, and then I think like removes the cooldown, which is another thing. So your most powerful skills will have a cooldown associated with it too.
Yeah.
So like I think you won't be able to use it right away, and then once you do use it, you have to wait that number of turns before you can use it again.
Yeah.
So a lot of interesting systems at play here to make
A lot of
combat
different things to balance stuff out, it sounds like.
not just rocket tag, which is what a lot of Pokemon ends up being.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
which granted, obviously there's competitive strategies that are about like walling your opponent and stuff, so you can't really do
Mm-hmm.
that. But for most part, like base game in Pokemon is like, yeah, is outspeeding and then outgunning your opponent.
Yep. That is fair. That is true.
So,
That is true.
because I mean, the game doesn't really incentivize you to play in a more interesting manner.
No. No.
So, and I don't know if that's to make it appeal to a younger audience that may not be thinking about strategy, but I don't know. Oh, also in Temtem, your lead Temtem follows you around on the map.
Always.
Let's go Pikachu and let's go Eevee.
I like that.
Yeah.
I
So
like that.
yeah,
Cool.
I have been fortunate enough. I don't know if the starter gender ratios are the same as in Pokemon, where it heavily weights gender to male types or to male Pokemon. But I have been blessed in that most of my Temtems are female, including my starter. I was
Okay.
thrown for a loop because the crystal starter is like a little turtle. I was gonna name it Speedy, and then it was
Oh,
female, so I still called it Speedy, but still it was like,
yeah.
uh,
I mean, Speedy is a gender neutral name, so,
sure, I guess.
it is. It, you know. um,
Who knows?
but yeah,
Um,
cool. So that is in open alpha right now on.
Open Alpha. It is $35 on Steam. It is early access, and they really reemphasize that it is early access. So there will be bugs. They'll be looking for feedback. There'll be stress tests. Um,
Cool.
So yeah, but I think they said it's like the kind of the first third of the game is available. So
Cool. That's a
yeah,
pretty good chunk for an open alpha.
yeah,
So nice. Very nice.
yeah. All right. So Courtney, let's talk about this. So so Driz shared this on Facebook actually, and that's
Mhm.
where I saw it. This is a crossover film project by Netflix
Mhm.
um, called Dorothy and Alice. And I saw that
Yeah.
it was Alice in Wonderland meets Wizard of Oz, and I said we got to talk about this because the only way it could get more Courtney is if it was set in Maine.
Legitimately, absolutely. Um yeah, I have feelings. So this is actually cuz I've done like some looking around, and this is actually like about 10 months old. So
Yep.
there's been some stuff that has been happening. But so yeah, Anna Klassen is going to be writing, or I'm guessing rewriting, Dorothy and Alice, which for Netflix, and which is following a fantastical friendship between Dorothy Gale and Alice. I don't know if she had a last name. Um,
Yeah.
um, I I I have feelings. I so the first is it's not canon in any way, shape, or form. Not even like it's not even trying, and it really bothers me because it's like the nightmare fuel that we had for Return to Oz, like the beginning half of that where Dorothy is in the mental asylum and stuff, like that is the type of like non-canon nightmare fuel that this is going to start, that this originally like had the script starting with. um I'm not really sure what is going to be happening with the story, because according to collider.com 10 months ago, the article that I was able to find, Klassen is going to be taking the project in a different direction. So, like, I understand that obviously this is a crossover, so not a lot of it's be certain types of canon. Like, completely accept that fact. Completely am okay with it. My issue, and this is always going to be my issue, is that Dorothy ends up in Oz forever with Auntie Em and Uncle Henry and her cousin and the chicken and the kitten and everything else. Like, she ends up in the story canonically living in Oz. Anything in my eyes that takes Dorothy back to the quote unquote real world immediately fails. It just immediately fails my
So
is
who's to
this.
say that this couldn't be before she takes everyone back to Oz?
And that's why I have feelings, because it could be, but the um the original script.
Courtney, what if it turns out that Dorothy and Alice are hunters? They they hunt monsters, they save people, they do good things.
To save
And
the
they're
worlds of
and
imagination, to save not
yes.
only the worlds of imagination but the world as we know it.
Yes. Cuz they're trying to protect the rest of us from knowing that monsters exist. And there will be a cameo by Felicia Day. This is actually a super. This is now a supernatural movie.
So no, no. See, the issue that I have is not the fact that she's back in the real world,
Yeah.
but the fact that, similar to why I am very, very, and will always be angry at Return, the beginning of it, because she was abandoned by her family. She is again abandoned by her family from this original script. Again, I'm not sure what has changed, what has been rewritten,
Well,
but
so do they
in the
explicitly say that, or is
she is
that
sent
an
to a
assumption?
no, she is in the original script, she is sent to a home for troubled girls and befriends Alice, which means she is sent away from her home, which is not how the Gales work. They don't do that in that family.
I mean, unless it wasn't their choice,
Yeah, I
you
don't
know?
know. I just there's just
It is Kansas, Courtney. This could have been this could have been somebody else came in and decided that Alice needed to go, or that Dorothy
that
needed to go
Dorothy needed
away.
to go.
Yeah.
I don't know. But the one thing that is giving me hope is that this was the original script.
Yeah.
And that this is since going in a new direction.
Plot twist. It is actually the Wicked Witch come back as in the guise of a social worker
Really?
that then removes Dorothy
Really?
to put her in an asylum so that she can then make mischief and mayhem back in Oz, and Dorothy can't come get her. But
Because
her
she was
attempts are
having
foiled because she meets Alice, who knows how to get out of these things because it's Alice. And then together they hunt monsters and save people and live the hunter life with Felicia
no,
Day.
I am very, very, very hopeful and optimistic. But I
Yeah.
definitely had very bad feelings when I first read what the original script was. Because it bothered me. Um, but that being said, I'm actually pretty excited for Klassen to be writing this, to kind of be retaking it over. She reports in when she was able to actually release on Twitter and say that, hey, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Like, she grew up with these stories, and I really, really, really hope that she's able to take the joy, whimsy, and fantastic event from both of these amazing universes and is able to bring them in and not betray the trust that I have in her.
What if we're seeing Netflix trying to make its own sort of imaginary world cinematic universe
I'd be totally okay with that. So
where
if
it starts off with Dorothy and Alice, and
yeah,
and, and in a D&D context is all these different imaginary worlds are actually part of a larger realm. I mean, this is kind of what Fables is about too, the comic series. And so
I mean,
Earth is sort of the
apparently this
nexus for all
wasn't,
of them.
from what else I was able to read when I was finding articles, like, this was Netflix trying to start some sort of franchise of the two, because they
Hmm.
are both in the public domain.
Yeah.
Um and so, which is why we can have crazy, infuriating stories like this. Um I just You don't want to hear my rant about the James Franco Oz movie. We'll do that off stream someday.
Yeah.
It's not nice. Um but so I'm really, really hoping that she's able to have a good, like, keep the purity, I guess, of these stories and of these characters. Like, I get if you want to bring it into a real world act. Obviously, it's a lot easier to do that than to have talking chickens and kittens and wheelers and all of this other stuff going on and around. On top of everything that goes wrong in Through the Looking Glass and all of that. Because these are just both two extremely epic fantasies.
Mm-hmm.
But they're also two extremely well-known fantasy worlds. And so I'm really, although I feel like they fit wonderfully together. And to for all we know, Wonderland really could be just like on the other side of the deadly desert that surrounds Oz. Um and so like these could actually like happen, and I'm not opposed to these characters meeting. I love it because the picture that I keep seeing in reference to this article and to this happening is a picture that I wish I could actually find the artist. But it is a picture of Dorothy and Alice with Alice's cat and Toto, and Alice telling Dorothy, like, I've seen some weird S word. um, and it's true, and these two iconic characters are just gonna be, I don't know. I don't know. I'm so torn. I'm so torn. I want it to be good. I want it to be good. I want it to be good. If I click my heels together 3 times and keep saying that, will it happen? I have them tattooed on my ankle for a reason.
Hear me out, Courtney. Not only are they both hunters, Dorothy has a gun that shoots houses onto people, to go along with Alice's Vorpal sword. You can do anything with magic. Okay, fine.
Sean?
A gun that shoots flying monkeys.
Sean, you're lucky I love you.
It's a flying monkey launcher.
Oh, the poor flying monkeys. They don't have any choice who they're following. Besides, they're freed now.
they they choose this awesome power to
Delivery
help
method.
Dorothy. Yeah, it's you don't impact the flying monkey. Is they throw their own projectiles. Yes, I agree, Driz. I also want a flying monkey launcher gun now.
it brings new meaning to the phrase "Don't make me release the flying monkeys."
Yeah, we're all Dragapult now, since that is basically what Dragapult does. That's a Pokemon reference for those that don't know. Yeah,
But
Dragapult
yeah,
literally
so
throws its babies at people
that's kind of
at
okay.
supersonic speeds. So,
Okay. All
but
right.
yeah, we don't really have a timetable for when this project is happening.
Yeah,
So
is as I said, everything kind of Netflix originally put this back in October of 2017. Um, so they've been working on this for a while. I'm assuming with the April script writer change, um, that or screenwriter change,
yeah,
um, that this is gonna this. I unfortunately I don't see this coming this.
yeah.
Um, I
Oh, you
see
know
this
what?
at the
Actually, that reminds me something that probably would have been in the. Sorry, this is a different topic, but something that
okay.
we probably should have covered. I think last week. Uh, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, whatever the Doctor
Oh,
Strange sequel is called. Director
yep.
bowed out.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, oh, that's interesting. Sorry, I just on the original sci-fi um uh website's article about the original writer.
Yeah,
And it's Justin Merce who wrote the Boxcar Children, and I loved those books growing up. But yeah, I really hope that they don't have the Gales be horrible people, because they're not, and don't send her away because she's having nightmares. Like that's all I gotta say. Um, is I really, 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 really hope that it's that yeah, that Anna Klassen does a good job. I mean, and she's done she's done some other great stuff on the J.K. Rowling biopic When Lightning um and so I hope it does a good job. That's all I got.
yeah.
I'm and obviously when it comes out I will watch it and I will review it, and we might have to put a salt warning on it, but yeah, I have I have extremely high standards, though. I will say that much as well. When it comes to
uh,
Oz, I have high standards.
you'll have to give us a rating of X number of flying monkeys out of X number of flying monkeys.
Okay, that I can do. That I can do. The James Franco version gets 1 because it is visually stunning, and that's all I can.
That's isn't that the one where it's like about the wizard supposedly?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
yeah,
it is visually stunning, and that is all I will.
yeah. It's one of those movies that I forgot came out,
I
along with the
was,
multitude of other
yeah.
Disney or Disney adjacent films that I just forget about,
There was
like
also a
like Maleficent.
dude that was on TV over like
They
yeah,
also
or something like
it's
that.
on Disney Plus now, so they've been heavily pushing it as well.
There
And
we
I'm
go.
just like, dude, I saw it in the theaters. Like, I don't have any desire to
Hmm.
watch this again.
But um, but yeah, I'm yeah, because because Netflix acquired this project in 20 as a potential franchise. So you know what I would
Ah,
love to see them do instead? Make all of the original books. Make all 14 of the original stories. Just do it, and
oh
do it good,
no.
because it's Netflix and they have the money.
Instead they should do Fables.
Sure, but if they're gonna do
Uh,
something like
I
that
I
and
don't see
make a
that
new
happening though
franchise,
because Fables. So the problem is Fables ties heavily into like classic fairy tales,
hmm
and I could see Disney throwing up a big enough stink about it. Because Fables is very adult.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it's like HBO.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So to
yeah.
have, Snow White, the Big Bad Wolf, Pinocchio, Rose Red, Sleeping Beauty, uh,
Mhm.
Belle and Beast, and everything
Mhm.
in an HBO type show. I could see Disney at least,
Well, this is gonna be a
even though it's
movie.
public, domain. I know, but Fables would really have to be done as a series. But
Yeah.
anyway, uh,
But
yeah, throwing up enough of a stink about it to try and get it not made, kind of a thing or whatever. But yeah,
mhm.
I mean, at the very least, this will be a one-off film.
Yeah.
You know.
It'll be something to be forgotten, like like the James Franco visually stunning. Yeah, I think there was one with like Leah Michelle did an Oz something like Legends of Oz. Yeah, Legends of Oz. Dorothy's Return.
Yeah.
That was a 17% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah. There are some things that we just forget exist. That's one of them. But I would be very excited if they do this right. And if it's able to launch into something. Because I would love, there are so many other great art. And I get that everybody only really knows, like, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz because of the movie. But, like, there's so many other great stories, so many great characters. Like, I absolutely want to Button Bright and Shaggy Man in in a movie or in a show, because I need that type of purity, because those characters are beautifully pure. Button Bright is well, he's a couple nuggets short of a Happy Meal, but
I mean, you've
staying.
basically just described Jay and Silent Bob.
No,
so
no,
I would
no.
say
Shaggy Man is magical. Like, yeah, the
so
Shaggy
is
Man is
Silent
a little
Bob.
bit magical.
Button Bright is Jay.
No, Button
Shaggy
Bright does
Man is
not have the
Silent Bob.
vocabulary that Jay has. Button Bright gets lost going to the bathroom in his own.
I would argue. So I would argue the character Jay.
Yeah.
Also, yes.
Well, that's why he's called Button Bright, because he's bright as a button.
Yeah.
Because his mama used to call him that.
Yeah.
That's the kind of sass that is amazing in the that nobody knows about. I also really, really, really would pay really good amounts of money or do some really sketchy things to see a General Ginger in live action. Like, I want that badly. That very badly. More than I should.
All right. Well, we've certainly that
Yeah.
ended up eating a lot more time than I thought. So why
I
don't we
told
get
you I
right
had
into?
feelings.
Yeah, you did.
You
So
were warned.
let's talk about what's happening this week in 8-Bit Adventures.
Yeah.
All right, so really quick, this week, Berkshire Bites, Megan and I went to District, and we talked about our experience there. Actually, a little hit and miss. So, yeah, check that out. And that is up on the podcast feeds, and later this week. So this is a bit of a production note. There will not be 8-Bit Adventures plays on Thursday this week. As there is a Dine to Donate for UCP of Western Massachusetts at Patrick's Pub.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We will be there instead of here. So,
yeah, we will. We will.
So instead, 8-Bit Adventures Plays is going to be on Saturday, and I'll be playing Luigi's Mansion 3.
Sweet.
So... and because it's on Saturday, it might be a bit of an extended stream, so feel free to come in, jump in, join the chat, hang out. Yeah. And we'll be busting ghosts, because Luigi takes no names in that game. It's you
Nice.
suck up ghosts, and then you proceed to Hulk smash them over your head repeatedly.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Also, Gooigi. Yeah. There is like a little gel canister that is attached to the poltergust, and you use it to like basically create this simulacra of Luigi made out of goo that he can go over spikes, he can go through bars, he can like slide through drains and stuff.
What color is the goo?
He's green.
Okay.
Because it's Luigi.
Okay.
But it's Gooigi. But if you come into contact with water, he dissolves.
That's just...
Yeah. So you use it for a lot of interesting puzzles and stuff.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Okay.
so yeah.
Sure.
So
Sure.
I'll be playing that. And
Fun.
then other sort of production note that I alluded to earlier is I have discovered that one can basically create archives on Twitch by making full episodes or streams a highlight. So basically you'll be able to, if you don't want to go to YouTube, since YouTube is not kind to independent content creators, all of the sort of back catalog as of like 2 weeks ago will be found here on Twitch.
Cool.
So one of the thoughts I would love to get feedback is if folks out there actually want archives of the 8-Bit Adventures draws and the 8-Bit Adventures plays streams. So right now I'm not set to have any archives of those, but obviously I can change that. So I think that's about it on the podcast and streaming front. Also,
This Friday.
Right, Dark Matter, session 3 is this Friday, so tune in for that.
Yeah.
And related to that, I haven't really gotten any feedback if people would prefer just an output of the stream to YouTube or if they want a more edited experience. Let me know. The idea would be something that has like the intro sequence and the intro music, along with like opening, closing credits and stuff, or not, or if you just want the stream output. I would just like to know because doing the former just requires a little bit of extra time in order to do that stuff, mostly for rendering and outputting. So,
and I'm sorry, but I won't vote on it because I'm already stream.
Yeah, I mean you're not gonna watch it anyway, so what do you care?
No, unless I'm sick or
Neither am I, Courtney. Neither am I going to watch it. So,
or I need to find the exact moment when my hearing cut out and my eardrum burst.
Yeah,
spontaneously.
Yeah.
But
so
yeah.
And then there was a new comic this week.
Yeah, there was. Gotta go fast.
Yeah.
Gotta go so fast.
So the only way to break into an area that is under development and thus normally are, protected by a barrier to prevent people from getting in is to break the systems in place. Which the last time we saw broke things pretty badly, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm concerned breakage that could be happening.
Yep.
I'm concerned. You are doing me a concern.
So
for honestly, you're doing me a concern for my girl's cornflakes' safety.
Yep.
Because
Also, totally forgot that I worked around the fact that she's so short and was often out of frame by putting her in a backpack, and was like, oh wait, why didn't I just do that again? So that's why she hasn't been appearing in a backpack, is I forgot. So and now she is.
Sean, I have a little bit of 8-bit news. So
oh yes, you do.
I totally do. So as we have been telling people, the store on 8-bit Adventure live, and so you can get amazing shirts like the one that I have on that is oh so soft and printed oh so nicely.
Yes,
with the
I'm not kidding when I say there is a store that exists that you can buy merch that exists from.
Yes,
Courtney is living proof.
Merch like stickers for 8-bit and Tales of Jamora. Like these two can be yours.
I also just found a sketchbook the other day of with a whole bunch of t-shirt designs that I had planned, and then stuff happened and opted not to do merch. But now that I'm doing merch again, like a cute little marshmallow that says "I'm fluffy and puffy."
I need that. I need that shirt in my life because I am fluffy and puffy. I need that shirt in my life, Sean. And but yes, no, the shirts are really really nice quality. Sean and I were talking about them before. Everybody had voted for the tri blend, and they are like super super soft, just like the Critical Role ones. And they're printed very much into the shirt, more as opposed to like a screen print just on top of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I am wearing an extra large, and it's very nice and it's so cute and it has Monty and it has Monty and
That
I'm
is
just so
Sir
excited.
Muntz. I don't know who that Monty person is that you're talking about.
No, it is Sir Muntz. It is the best investigator ever, and I yeah. So and pretty quick shipping too.
Um,
So that store is live, folks.
yeah. Oh, so the shirts themselves, because I know this matters
Yep.
to people, are from American Apparel.
Yes, they are.
Um, so they are made in the United States.
Yes.
So they are not shipped out overseas to be made um, in a. As far as I know, I still have to do a little bit of research into it, but that's also why it's a little bit of a higher price point.
I don't know. I can't take my shirt off to see if it's. Yeah, I can't read that at all. It's way too close.
Well, their Google listing literally says in the front, ethically made, sweatshop free.
See, there we go.
So
But yeah, no. And the process was super easy. It's great because text say, hey, this. Um, so it's a good shopping experience at 8-bit. So head on over there and take a look. T-shirts and the stickers, and there's a snapback hat and a poster, and it's awesome.
yeah.
That was my bit of 8-bit news. But
Yeah, sorry, I'm just looking more at about American Apparel, and just like a lot of the stuff that they ethically do. So fair wages, health and wellness, basically minimize water waste.
yeah.
It like water conservation practices for their stuff. So yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah.
What we stand for.
So, and as much as it's so I will say that because I did order the stickers and the shirt separately from the stickers, which I kind of liked because the stickers just came in a cardboard um make and or cardboard envelope, and the shirt came in a single bag. For the shipping, it didn't have like the bag inside of a bag with the shipping. It just had a little sticker on it that came off really quick. Um, and for anybody that, because as I said, these feel very much like the Critical Role ones. I've noticed that this one's just a little bit bigger. I got an XL, and it's a little bit longer than the Critical Role shirts that I have. Um, but that's not a bad thing for me because I like a little torso.
Yeah.
But they fit in the torso. They fit wonderfully. Exactly how I would expect. I wear an extra large, and it fits exactly how I would expect it to. As I said, the torso is just a little. So.
Yeah. So the sizes that I currently have are small to double XL. I think if there are other sizes that are needed, I might be able to do it. It all depends on the availability from the printer. But I might be able to go higher if needed. Especially since most of the colors that I have selected are basic colors. So just throwing that out there for anybody that was thinking about getting a shirt and saw the sizes and, something didn't fit. But
yeah.
So yeah. I would say normally we would do quest log. However, Courtney, you've just been playing Stardew Valley, and
I have.
I was just playing WoW and Temtem, and we've already covered that. So
We talked about both of those.
We did talk about both of them. I've just been doing the new patch in Warcraft, so that's what we already talked about. And then Temtem only a little bit, because there was a queue of about 10,000 people waiting to get in the game.
Wow.
It was launch day.
I mean, yeah, but wow.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty good.
Wow.
So,
okay.
Granted, it didn't like tell you to pick a server, so everybody's probably just on one server. So that is something to consider with that. So, but yeah, so that is going to wrap up our podcast for this week. Thank you all for joining us. If you want to see more content from 8-Bit Adventures, be sure to check out 8-bitadventures.com, and over there you can get comics, streams, podcasts, art, content, and more. If you'd like to help support that content, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/8bitadventures. For as little as $1 a month, you can get exclusive access to patrons-only comics and content. Some things include the Speedy and Monty comics, as well as, for $2 patrons and up, there are previews for Jamora subclasses for Rangers and Bards. So gonna be utilizing that a bit more. Patrons also get a discount on merch.
Yeah, which I totally will use the next time I make.
Because you forgot about it. That's
totally
okay.
Did. But that's totally okay.
Yeah. So you get that stuff, exclusive Discord channels, and more. So patreon.com/8bitadventures. Every little bit helps. But I mean, if you can't, no judgment here. Thank you for your continued support from just watching the streams,
Yeah, watching, sharing,
this explanation is totally not in response to that Twitch streamer that was yelling at people for not donating. Because that's a thing. But
no,
if
you yes,
but anyway, also as a reminder, you can also subscribe here on Twitch and get cool emotes. And if you have a Twitch Prime subscription, and please consider using that on this channel, since you get one free a month. So
just remember to re-up it every month.
Yeah, you got to re-up it every month. I know a bunch of people didn't, and then it like fell off. But yeah, I mean that's fine too. Our opening theme is One Up by Professor Shy Guy. You can find his work over at professorshyguy.bandcamp.com, so go give that a look. And with that, we're done. So, as always, have fun, everyone. Happy gaming, and enjoy your pie cake.
Bye, everybody.